Hey, this is John. Welcome back to Modern Old School Developer. In the last episode, we did some styling tweaks to this form so that we would eventually be able to do adds, updates, and removes of all of these movie properties. Don't have that functionality yet. That's what I hope to make happen in this episode. Before we get to that though, I want to make one tweak to our UI. So these two components here, the select box and the text field, they aren't always needed depending on which action we have. For add, we don't need the select box. For update, we need both. For remove, we just need the select box. So let's go tweak some of the rendering so that it is selective based on the action property. So let's go into VS Code. I did rename the component to movie property form because it no longer made so much sense for it to be admin add form when we'll be able to remove and update things soon. So here is our select box. So let's say I only want this rendered if formic.values.action is not equal to add. So in those cases, we will render this select box. So let's put that in parentheses here and just grab the select box and place that here. All right. And similarly, we're going to do something for the text box here, although it's going to be formic.values.action is not equal to remove, because if it is remove, we don't want this text field here, but any other value, and we do want that. All right, I think that should be good. So let's go try that out. Add button, we only have the text field. Update, we have both of them. Remove, we have just the select box. Perfect. That's the first thing I wanted to see. All right, so next we need to add some functionality. So if we go up to our onSubmit handler, we can see that it is basically tailored to just the adding. But we're going to need to make some endpoints in our backend before we're able to do anything. So all we have right now are, posting to the actors and categories, etc. We don't have a put, we don't have a delete. So let's go make some new endpoints. So let's start here in main.py. Let's make a new endpoint, app.put. Again, it's going to be actors, and we'll have the actor ID. And the response model is going to be schemas.actor. So let's do that. And our responses, there'll probably be something else in there, like maybe a 404 error. So let's grab one of those real quick. Yeah, right in there, a 404 error. Sounds like that's what we're going to have. So responses equals, yeah. So we're definitely going to have a 404 error. And we might have a duplicate actor error if we try to update the actor and then we try to update it with the same name. So we can have probably this response code as well. I can't think of anything else right now, but as we go along, maybe there will be something. So this is going to be define update actor. We're going to have the ID, which is an integer. And we're going to have a session, so we'll have the database there. And when we post the ID, what do we do here? We've got a data schemas movie property schema. Well, let's take a look at that and see what that looks like. Looks like the movie property schema is just the name, which is perfect. That's all we need. So we can go ahead and co-opt that as well. So we'll get our data and we'll put that in there as well. So that's a good start. So the first thing we'll be needing to do is we're going to need to make a new CRUD endpoint, and we're going to have to do a try catch block. So let's say actor equals CRUD.update actor. We're going to give it the database, the ID of the actor, and data.name. All right, that should be good, except I don't know what, and we'll pass for now. So that looks like what we want, basically. We do want to do data.name.strip because we don't want to have any extra spaces on there. So yeah, that looks like a good place to stop on there, and let's move into the CRUD module. So if we scroll down to update something. Update movie is right here. We'll put update actor right before that. So find update actor. Database is a session. The ID is an integer. And we're going to have, well, they had data there. We're just going to have name, which is a string. And we're going to return a models.actor. Okay, there we go. So I think that's a good starting point. So the first thing we're going to have to do is get the actor. So actor equals get actor, and we will use database session and the ID. If actor is none, then we're going to throw an exception. So we're going to raise invalid ID exception. Actor ID does not exist. Okay, so there will be the first error we'll have to handle in our endpoint. So let's say accept invalid ID exception as E. Okay, so there's our first exception, our 404 not found. All right, that sounds good. So what else would we do in here? Well, if we were adding an actor, so if I split this right and go to add actor, we can see that what we would do is we would do a database add, database commit. And when we do update movie, we change our things and then do database.commit. So let's see if we can try that. So if we have an actor, let's say actor.name equals name, and then we're going to try database.commit, database.refresh actor, and if we get an integrity error, that is our cue to roll back and raise a duplicate entry exception. And we'll just grab this real quick and put it over here, and there we go. So we can go ahead and close this. And I think everything else should be good if we return our actor. And yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. So we update our actor, we get the actor. If we don't get them, we throw our exception. We update our name, we try to commit. If we get an integrity error, we throw an exception and we go back. So back in main.py, we've got that integrity exception. So it should be just like this here. So we'll put that over there. And yeah, I think that is everything. So we're going to get the actor here. So if we made it, we're going to return the actor. There we go. We can now update an actor. So we also need a delete endpoint. So let's see about getting one of those. So app.delete. And this is going to be, again, actors/ID. And I think we're not going to have a response model, but we will have some responses. Not a 409, though. You can't conflict with deleting something, but you can get a 404 response. So that should be good. We're going to delete the actor. And again, we're going to have basically these things, except for the data property. There won't be a data property, just an ID. And we get that. So yeah, so I think we need to do, we're going to try, too much JavaScript. We're going to have a try except block. So we'll say crud.delete actor by ID. And we'll say except, and we're probably just going to have this for our exception. So we'll just do this right here. And if we made it there, we should be good. So where's my delete movie? So yeah, we've just been returning this, and that's probably fine. So let's go back to delete actor, and we'll return this, deleted actor ID. Okay, that sounds good. Don't forget to pass database property to our CRUD function, and let's go make our CRUD function. We need a delete actor function. So right above delete movie, I think, find delete actor. Again, it's going to be basically this right here. So, all right. So again, we say actor equals get actor, database ID. If actor is none, then we'll raise invalid exception. So we'll just do this again, and it's going to be actor ID does not exist. If we do have that thing, we will say database delete actor, database commit, and that should be good. All right. I think that's good for the actors, being able to update and delete them. The only thing I'm wondering about is whether we'll get an integrity error when we delete the actor. Because what if we have an actor we're trying to delete that is still associated with the movie? I'm not entirely sure what happens then. Does it throw an integrity error, or does it delete the actor from the movie? So we'll have to see what happens when we try to do that in a minute. But I believe these endpoints should be good, at least for actors for now. Let's go back into our movie property form and see what we can do about this. So this is the helper method. So why don't we rename this? This should be the add helper. Let's copy that, and we'll say add helper, add helper, add helper, add helper. I fixed this, actually. You won't ever get that. Okay, I think all of that should be okay. We're switching on the selection. But in reality, we need to get the right function. So I think we can assign a function based on what we're doing. So what I want is, I think we need a special helper function for each one of these, and then select the helper function based on our action. So let helper, and let's say we switch on, I want the selection. So where are we getting that from? We're getting that from our values type. So we should be able to get action in here as well. Yeah, so if we have action, we can switch on that, and we can say that case add helper equals add helper, and we'll break there. For case remove, we'll say helper equals add helper for now, and in case update, we'll say helper equals add helper for now. All right, so now I should be able to just call helper in any one of these as long as we have the same parameters. I'm not sure if we're going to yet, but that's my first thought. So why don't we see what we can do about that? So we've got the add helper, and that looks pretty good. So why don't we copy that for the update and delete and see what it does. So let's make a remove helper, and what this is going to be is, let's see here, the const response, remove helper is going to be a delete method. We don't need a body here, so we don't need the name property or a body at all, so we can get rid of this. That should be good for that. So I should be able to say selection title, name, deleted. 409, there isn't one of these right now, so we're just going to delete that for the time being, and everything else should be okay. Here's our remove helper, and here's this. Okay, and finally I want one more for the update helper. So let's add one more function, and this should be very much like the add helper again. So this is update helper, and what do we have here? This should be a put. The endpoint also needs the ID. Do we have the ID? We wouldn't have on add, but we will here, and that's going to be our name selection property. So we do need that as well. So we will convert that to a string here. Name selection on remove helper. And the same thing over here. Name selection on this helper. and we put the body is the same as it was before, so that looks like it ought to be okay. I feel like there's probably some significant refactoring we could do to make this a little bit cleaner, but I will do that later when I think about it. So this is going to be updated. This could still happen, and this could still happen, I think. So we'll let that be, and we'll change that to update helper. All right, so I think that should be everything. We only have endpoints for actors right now, but I'm hoping that it works for any of them anyway. So let's see if that's true. So let's see here. So if I want to add an actor, who could we add? Diane Wiest. Actor Diane Wiest added. Okay, sounds like it worked. Do we really have Diane Wiest? Yes, we do. Okay, well, good news. That still works. So if we go update, let's see if we can update somebody. You know what? Maybe her name's Diane West. I don't know. Wiest sounds weird. Let's say her name's West. If I update that, it says she's updated. Is she really? Hey, Diane West. That looks pretty good. Let's see here. It definitely is Wiest. Okay, so we'll go update that. And it's Diane Wiest. And yeah, that looks good. So what if we didn't want Diane Wiest? Let's say we remove Diane Wiest and remove her. She's been deleted. She's no longer in there. Cool. But I wondered about that conflict we might be able to get if we already had something, a property on a movie we were trying to delete. So I see that in Dark Knight Rises, we have put Liam Hemsworth in here. So let's try to delete Liam Hemsworth and see what it does. It says he was deleted. What does that mean? He's not in there anymore. Okay, so that's interesting because it will let you delete actors and it will not do an integrity check for that. There's probably some way to specify that in the database that I don't want that to happen. But I'm going to have to look that up because I don't know what it is. For the time being, let's see if we can knock out the other endpoints because this appears to be working pretty well as far as what we can do. So let's go make category, series, and studios. All right, I think I've got everything added here. So you can see we've got our actors. We've got the put for update actor and delete actor. So that was already in there. Then we have our categories. So the categories, pretty much just like actor, just changing actor for category. Same thing with the delete, doing the same thing there. And then down here, we've got the update series and the delete series and the update studio and delete studio. So yeah, that looks good from that. And then inside CRUD, we've done the same thing. We have added all of our stuff. So delete actor, delete category, pretty much the exact same thing. Over here on delete series, we've got delete series and delete studio. Again, pretty much identical, just changing out actor for whatever the other property is. And down here, we've got the update. So update category, and finally update series and update studio. So I believe all of the backend should be complete now. Is it still running? Yep, it is. So let's go ahead and try. So I want to add a category. I want to add the fantasy category. Already exists. Cool, good to know that works. What if I wanted to delete the fantasy category? It's gone now. And now I can add it again. And I can. Okay. Looks like that works. If I want to update fantasy to fantasy, unknown response from backend. All right, that's a problem. It said it's not found. That's because we're not updating this. So my list had the old ID. this one has the new ID. It does say it was an unknown response from backend. That's not what I was expecting for an update. So that's interesting that it would say unknown response. Let's go look and see why that might have been. Our add helper didn't have 404 responses because that didn't make sense for an add. It does make sense for deletes and for updates. So let's go fix that. Helpers.setStatus, and we'll say selection title, name, not found on server. All right, that looks reasonable for this. So let's go add that down here to the update property as well. All right. Okay, so I think that should be good to fix that. If I do it again, yeah, category not found on server. So yeah, all right. It's got the weird name, but whatever. It's fine. So if I go back to the main page, it'll refresh this, and I'll have the proper fantasy category. So we'll say fantasy is fantasy A, and that actually works now. So there are some minor user experience things that I'm not going to get into right now, but mostly this works. So what about removing, well, didn't think that was going to happen. Let's see what happened there. All right, so I think there's a problem when we are on the update and have a selection. So if I go back over here and choose a value here and then change to something else like category, that's what's triggering the problem. So why is it triggering the problem? Because we're trying to find the name for whatever the selection is here. And there may not be that selection if they don't have the category. So we need to reset the selection whenever we change the movie property. So we're going to want to do that, I think, before we do anything else. So let's go see if that will fix things. So let's go see what happens if we set the field value of selected name to be, or name selection to be blank as well. Set field value, the property is name selection, and let's set that to blank. So I think that should work over there. So let's refresh this, get our information, go to update, pick a thing, and go to category. Nope, that still didn't help us. My guess is that we might not have a 0th element here with a name property. So let's pull this out for a minute, and let's say that selected names equals this filter, and we will say if selected names dot length is greater than 0, then we will do this. So we won't filter that again. We will simply say selected names 0.name. And I think that might work. Let's try this one out. So let's go back to main, refresh things, clear the console, go to update, pick an actor, go to series. Yeah, now I think it's okay. So again, I'm in update. I want to go back to actors, and we'll say Seth MacFarlane, and we go to series. Yeah, so now we are guaranteed to have a name, and if we don't find it, we won't try to access that property. I would have thought, I did think that would be a problem, but I thought TypeScript would have warned me about it, so I didn't worry when I was able to complete this with no issues. So it's interesting that it didn't consider that I might not find one there. Because even though we could have a selected names, it wouldn't have to actually have a name. So, I don't know. It's fine. We just need to guard against that possibility. And I think that's looking pretty good. I think our our stuff looks good. So if I update Disney, does it work? Yeah. And if I fix it again, why didn't it put this in the box? Oh, it's not a change selection. I'm not going to worry about that. For now, anyway. So we go to add, go to update, got Disney there. Yeah, it's fine. So I think all of that is looking pretty good for now. Our admin form is a lot more flexible and a lot more functional. Well, I hope this has been an entertaining and informative episode for you. If it has, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button because it really helps the channel out. I will see you in the next episode where we will do more stuff like this. That's kind of what we do here. Thanks for watching.